Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? So, been thinking about the article I read the other day, man, about Luis Ortiz and Alexander Usanov. Both are the teams. They're not seeing eye to eye as far as making that fight for the Canelo versus Liam Smith undercard September. Now we know they had an agreement in principle. I believe in March they did to meet either on or before. I believe it was June 19th, some date in June. All right, as part of this WBA tournament to establish one champion. I know it doesn't make sense. What do you mean establish one champion when Tyson Fury is the champion? All right, but we know that they have an interim title and we know that they have a regular title. The regular title holder, it was Chigaev. He gets beat by Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown tests positive for clenbuterol. They strip him. They reinstate Chigaev as the regular champion. Now that title is taken away from him because they reached out to him 3 different times saying that he has to fight Fred Zakendo, which will be a rematch between those two. He didn't respond back, so now they took the title away from him. And from the last I heard, that title is now vacant. All right, then the interim title, Luis Ortiz has that. All right, then Fury is the super champion, or however you want to put it. All right. Now, with Luis Ortiz, man, now that fight with Usanov, it might not happen for what I'm hearing. You know, I think it's to the point now where, man, where Luis Ortiz, and we can say what we want, like I've said before. We can say things like low risk, or what's this damn saying? High risk, low reward. He doesn't bring any money to the table. I've heard some people say if he's not a mandatory, nobody's going to want to fight him. Now, I have heard people call him out, all right? So I'm not going to say that nobody's ever called him out. It's not exactly the fighters who we want to see call him out, but Tony Thompson was a guy who talked himself into a fight with him, and he got that work. He wanted the work. He got it in his hometown of Washington, D.C. Brian Jennings, I've heard him come out and say he does want a rematch with Luis Ortiz. So I've heard that. You know, I've heard Andrew Ruiz Jr. say that he would like to fight Ortiz, and they offered him the fight, but I think they only gave him like a 4-week time span, and he said that he wants at least an 8-week camp, and he will take that fight. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, you know, I know he's with Golden Boy, and just from the looks of it, man, now this is just me. You may think differently, and that's fine. But with the way I'm looking at it is, Golden Boy, man, it's like they only push certain fighters in their stable. You know, I've heard some fans even say that they favor their Mexican fighters. And I don't think that's a stretch, you know, and if that is the case, fine. You know, Oscar De La Hoya is Mexican, or Mexican American, and that's fine. I have no problem with that, man. But you have one of the best heavyweights out there right now, based on skill, his pedigree, what he's done to a top 10 type of opponent in Brian Jennings. You know what I mean? So to me, man, they're not doing a good job with him, man. I think they're doing a shitty job with Luis Ortiz. And they did have him on those little Golden Boy cards that come on Fox Sports 1. And that's cool, man, but he needs to be more active, man. And the time is ticking. I know he's like 36 or 37. Some people think he's older than that, but 36, 37 years old. The time is ticking, man. He needs to be as active as possible. Again, I don't think he's going to really get a shot at nobody unless he's their mandatory. So with that said, he has to be more vocal. I know he has an interpreter, so he can, you know, just talk his shit on, you know, he needs to open up like an Instagram or a Twitter or Facebook, something, man, where he's coming out every day saying something, let his interpreter get his message across. He needs to be showing footage of him in the gym, you know, just little 15, 20-second clips, man, just keeping his name out there, kind of like what Antonio Tarver does and Shannon Briggs and all these other guys who just stay vocal. Keep your own name out there, man. You don't, you know, have to depend just on Golden Boy. And even if that's not his personality, that's fine. It's not about your personality, man. It's about you keeping your name out there. And so people, you know, more people can start talking about this. Because right now, yes, they're putting them on pay-per-views. You know, they're trying to put them on this Canelo pay-per-view. They put him on the Triple G and Lemieux pay-per-view, the undercard, when he fought, who did he fight? Ortiz Madando, I think that's the guy he fought. Knocked him out. He looked impressive. I don't know, man. I just think Golden Boy is doing a shitty job with him, man. And from what I'm hearing, Golden Boy is just sitting around waiting for a phone call, right? As if somebody's going to call and say, yeah, man, give us Luis Ortiz. Nobody's going to call asking for him. Nobody's going to call asking for him. So he has to put these other fighters on the hot seat, man. Start calling them out, making them look foolish on social media, calling out Anthony Joshua, you know, make fun of Anthony Joshua's opponent. I'm not just picking on Anthony Joshua, but everybody. Deontay Wilder. Right now, he should be talking shit about Tyson Fury and Klitschko. He should be talking about Fury's making up an injury about his ankle. Even if it's not true, just keep your name out there. Keep it buzzing. David Hay, I was actually discussing this with somebody offline that call out David Hay, man. Even if you got to take the short money, just take the short money to come up, you know, steal his shine. And then, you know, after that fight, once you beat one of the top 10 guys or somebody that's rated in the top 10 along with Ortiz, he can kind of steal their shine, take the short money. I know some of you fans don't want to hear that about a guy taking short money, but sometimes you have to do that to elevate yourself, especially if you really think that your guy can beat any of these guys. Okay, he might have to bite the bullet on this fight. Get that fight, take the short money if you have to, and then steal that guy's clout, steal his shine, and then that does better for Luis Ortiz, man. But just sitting back and waiting for this magical phone call, like somebody, you know, like Huey Fury is going to call him up and say, yeah, let's get that fight. Nobody's going to call Luis Ortiz up, man. At least not the guys we want to see him fight. Now, I'm not saying nobody wants to fight him, like everybody's scared of him, but it just seems if nobody really wants that fight for whatever reason, you know. Now, there is one guy who I think, and this is a time where they should be calling this guy out. Again, it's probably not who you want to see him fight, but just because this guy's a talker, they can sell the fight. And I think they should be calling out guys on social media like Antonio Tarver. Now, just listen to this.
You know, I'm pretty sure they would want me to fight Luis Ortiz. They asked me about that fight about a year ago. I told them put the fight on HBO and pay the money that fight deserves to be paid. And you'll see Luis Ortiz get his ass whooped right in front of your eyes. I ain't ducking nobody. Just make the money right and come see the Magic Man, because I ain't going nowhere. I'm ready.
There you go. You heard it.
Straight, bar none.
Straight from the point. You straight from the source. You heard it.
Shit.
You heard it.
They want me to stumble and fall before I get to the promised land. They think Luis Ortiz is that guy. Well, put the money on the table then and come see me, and I'll show you what I'll do to him.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that fight was sold. Now, some of you think, oh, Tarver get his ass whooped. Okay, that's fine. I would rather see Luis Ortiz fight Tarver than just sit out and wait for guys and wait for negotiations and do all this fucking waiting, man. Because I really don't think some of these guys, they want to take that risk with him. So he has to start putting the heat on some of these other fighters, man, by embarrassing them on social media. No, and then when I say embarrass them, I don't mean, you know, going into their past and trying to pull off some personal shit. I'm not saying that, but just, you know, make fun of their opponent selection, how they looked in their last fight, how they don't want to fight him, things like that. Make the public, make us fans say, you know what, Ortiz is calling this guy out. This guy needs to fight him, man, because Ortiz is on his ass calling him out every day on social media. Antonio Tarver, you know, he's looking for a big fight. I know him and Dillian White was going at it in social media with each other, and that's what made that fight seem pretty decent to me, because these guys are talking it up. Now, we know that White right now is getting ready to fight my man. He's getting ready to fight on Saturday against David Allen. So guess we'll have to wait and see. But Antonio Tarver is keeping himself relevant. I know some fans, they don't want to hear from him because of the drug tests, so on and so forth. And that's cool, man. But my thing is, if he served his suspension and paid his fines, let him fight. Because that's all they're asking him to do. I say let him fight, because in that case, then we shouldn't let Ortiz fight then, right? Golden Boy, man, y'all are slipping with Luis Ortiz. Promote this man right. One of the best heavyweights in the land, and it's a damn shame that it takes YouTube uploaders to keep his name hot when you guys should be keeping his name hot. Do a better job of promoting this, man. This shit's pathetic, man. I'm out.